welcome to the Warren Finance Committee meeting on, today is March 26th, it's 3:05 p.m. We are being recorded by WCAT. I believe this meeting is going off through their Facebook page live and also through their YouTube page live as well. If anyone wants to speak to the meeting today, just identify yourself for the purposes of people who might be listening in through an audio recording. And with that being said, first thing on our agenda is just to review and accept any minutes that we might have.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from March 17th, 2026 meeting.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazik, aye.
Okay.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes of 3/12/2026 minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazik, aye.
Okay, very good. The next thing we have up, we have representation from the school today. I'll let them introduce themselves. And we're just going to have a chance to talk about the first draft of the school's budget. So I'll let, we have Nikki Gonzalez and Steve Duff here from the school. And go ahead, guys.
So we have, and we'll go over those with you. As you know, this is a very challenging budget year, and our proposals are just that we have a level funded budget, what it was if we were level service, no changes with our increases, reconfiguring our elementary schools, and finally closing West Brookfield Elementary. So I'll give you each this. I don't know if you have stuff to add on.
Sure, so we've been working on this budget since November.
This is on top of it.
West Brookfield is in a different financial position right now than Warren is. And so we did,
Huh?
I said don't pass out when you see that.
Don't pass this out.
Don't pass
No,
out.
don't you pass out.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna pass out because.
yeah. So we did host a parent the school committee hosted a school committee information night for parents because in the current budget situation we're in is a real possibility that we're going to have to close an elementary school. It's just not financially sustainable or possible to do it. West Brookfield is looking to do an override. There will be a Board of Selectmen's meeting tonight to look at the override amount. The amount that was in the initial override was enough to get them to a level service budget and nothing above minimum contribution. With nothing above minimum contribution, financially the only way that you can even get close to being there is by closing an elementary school. So we did present that information to the parents on Monday night. We had a question and answer with the parents. We explained to them, Nikki did a great job of going through the numbers that come out from the state and what they mean, and then we went into another PowerPoint to kind of get down to kind of the layman's version of how we got to where we are, what happens over a course of time when we use one-time funds to support operating budgets, which we know is not a good practice in business. And I know that West Brookfield have been talking about this possibility happening for probably 10 years now. And I think that we are at a point where, there's not a lot of money left in the bank in West Brookfield, if any. The revenue that they bring in was somewhere in the neighborhood of 230,000, somewhere in that ballpark. And when your minimum contribution goes up by 302,000, you're automatically in a deficit. I think West Brookfield will tell you that they're rolling into FY27 at this point. With that budget, they're looking at about an $800,000 deficit just to start FY27. So that's why the override there is important. We will have more information to share after tonight's meeting, whether there's an additional amount that the advisory board and the select board approves to go to a vote in May to see if an override would be supported. And if that happens, then it would go to the town floor in June. The tricky part for the school district is if we have to close a school, time is of the essence, obviously, because you're looking at moving furniture, or even if we reconfigure schools, we do a K through 3 in West Brookfield and a 4 through 6 in Warren. There are savings in terms of reduction of staff, but there's also an increase in transportation because you'd have to add a third tier to transportation, which is quite costly for the first year. You get reimbursed your percentage after, in FY28, we realize the savings in transportation, but that doesn't help us in FY27, which is about $1 million increase in transportation. And Nikki will go through each version of the budget. I do want, publicly, I want to thank Ray. I know, Ray, you've been to all of our meetings. We worked extremely hard on this budget. The problem with the budget is when you put 1.3 million at it from one year, and then you go to the next year and you don't have that 1.3 million dollars, you're already at a deficit. And that has put us in a very difficult position with some tough decisions.
But you know, and I don't mean to be, not nice, but, you know, this, you say it one of two ways. This train's been coming off the track for a while, since I've been here, you know, or, you know, the car or the truck hit the brick wall. All I'm gonna say, I mean, I'm gonna listen to what she has to say, you know, but I can point blank tell you on this proposed for Warren above minimum, put us in a 2.5. So I don't know what the magic number is, but I know it's gotta be under $1 million, you know, because of the big increase for the transportation, just looking at, you know, at the rough numbers, and, you know, it's not good. So, I just wanted to say that up front, and I don't mean to be critical, but the thing is that I've been in town since 2002, and we might have started off at 25 or 50,000 above minimum. Last year, we're almost at 775, and it's hard, because it is a good school system. You know, everybody wants to support the kids, but I know I saw something online, whether it was something DOR or whatever. I mean, there's towns out there already paying over $1 million above minimum, and yes, something's got to change. I mean, and it's just not us, you know what I'm saying? But it's like that statewide. Something's got to break. Something's got to change. So I just wanted to say that, and I don't mean it, you know.
No, and I couldn't agree with you more. Nikki or I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's why we had our parent information night, because you're right, this has been coming for a while, and the towns have done everything they can to support us, but I think we're at a point where the funds just aren't there.
Correct.
And the reality of it is we need to do something.
Correct, and they're not there in West Brookfield, and in Warren, they ain't gonna be there much longer either.
So, the level funded budget, if we look, so I'm gonna skip to, the state side, state and local first, because that's stagnant.
Okay.
So you can see this year in FY26, we are receiving about $10.6 million. You can see in FY27, currently proposed amount is $10,676,000. So we're only receiving $76,000 more. I can tell you that our health insurance increase alone is double that. When we look at our transportation reimbursement, I mean, you can see from 25 to 26 to 27, it's all over the place. We have conservatively budgeted an 85% reimbursement. So it means off of total transportation, we are looking at a reimbursement of $1.1 million. You can see our charter reimbursement is decreased as well. It's $23,000, which is down to $34,000. And miscellaneous, I bumped up a little because historically speaking, we have had consistently more. So those numbers alone, you can see we've actually decreased our state funding by about $276,000 already. So we have two sides to this problem. We have an expense problem, but what is more clear is we have a revenue issue going on here. And unfortunately, the above minimum contribution is that catch-all, and that's why you see such a huge ask here. Again, this is, we keep everything status quo, schools stay the same, services that are provided, all of that stays the same in this budget. When we look at the operating, and for Warren in particular, you can see that your minimum local required contribution has gone up $142,000, but West Brookfield's has gone up $302,000. So in total, the required contribution between both towns has gone up about $444,000 this year. You can see the transportation has increased as well. So transportation has increased this year. Two factors come into this. As we send out students, out of district, tuition comes into play, but also transportation for those students. And because we have a reduced revenue in the transportation reimbursement, now we have a higher expense for transportation in this version. So in this version, you can see transportation has gone up almost $300,000 for Warren. And with all expenses, so just to quickly talk about expenses, our health insurance has gone up about 11.18%. For active people, retired folks has gone up about 18%, and I budgeted another 10%. We're currently overutilizing. So for every dollar we're sending, they're paying $1.25, $1.30 on our behalf. And our active insurance plan is similar as well. Other expenses that have gone up is our tuition expense has gone up, so we're sending more students out. The other piece that comes into play here is we're also trying to be a little bit more, we're not throwing all of our school choice, circuit breaker funds at this budget, because in reality, all it takes is one student to go out of district, and you're talking maybe $175,000 between transportation and the tuition itself. So, you know, that's hard because it makes that above minimum contribution that much higher. And because you can see in other financing, we have our E&D at $150,000. So, you know, we kept our above minimum for both towns last year flat. We didn't increase it. We've had some students that have moved in the district that have higher needs, whether it's a one-to-one, whether it's going out of district, etc. And so that means that that line is compressing now. So, and again, it's another place that we're reserving some funds so that in the event that we do have, you know, you never know what's going to come up, you know, that we need to have some kind of funds for that as well. The capital bond, I did get your email, Madeline, so I'll get that over to you. You can see that has gone down about $5,000 this year, so it's about $128,000. So we will have those bonds. To my understanding, we have another round in 27, and I believe we will be finishing them off in 28, and one of the bands will be done in 29. So we're almost done with those. In this version, you can see the expense side also has gone up $1.8 million. So a little over 8% is the total increase of expenses here. However, the real issue here is our revenue and the lack of it, and that's why in this version, the above minimum ask is so high.
Just for a second, just the sheet, thank you. I just wanted one thing real quick. Nikki, I'm gonna, if you could address back on transportation, it's my understanding, having been to the meetings, and why that huge increase, and part of it, a large part of it is because of the transport needs for out-of-district students, which had some huge jump this past year. And in the neighborhood of around $300,000 just for those out-of-placement schools, above and out of students.
The tuition is up $300,000.
Okay.
The transportation for those students is up about $180,000.
Okay.
and then regular transportation is up minimally. But then you add in that gap of your revenue, so we projected revenue of 1.4, now we're saying for next year it's 1.1, so you have that
That's
gap,
why.
you put that all together, and that ends
It
up
makes that
being-
huge increase for the transportation. I just wanted to make sure that was addressed for the committee and for the public.
Could you say those numbers again? So for tuition, you said it was up how much?
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
tuition
I
is
just-
up
just
300,000,
300, I
Yep.
wrote, and the transportation for sped is
about
80,
180,000.
and the regular.
Minimal, we're talking, very
That's the
minimal.
one I didn't
Yep.
get.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because the revenue is down with 321, it creates this big revenue gap now
Mhm.
that now needs to be beat up. I also just, on some of the little things, the investment income, we've consistently been receiving more, so that's been bumped up a little bit. I do anticipate, as the Fed is cutting rates and, we're entering, a climate where oil is expensive. We just met with our collaborative yesterday, and they said if we were to lock in today, it would be like almost $4 a gallon. So, we're heading into some times that I think,
No, I wouldn't lock in for 4 now. That's
no,
horrible.
nope, we're definitely not. We're definitely not. And retirement is up. Everything is just more costly now, so you're seeing that in here as well.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Yep.
We've been looking at insurance ourselves. We've had a couple meetings and stuff about, trying to see about getting, how we can reduce, So I know it's not easy, but I just wanted to say that about the number, it's like, I know it's early, so, but I just told you that, that's where I know that would put us, and, when do you, because I know we usually put the book out, up to print the 3rd week of April.
So we're gonna,
Where do you think you'd be by then?
well, we're gonna present,
A budget to approve on Monday, because by their agreement, we have to. It's widely dependent on what happens tonight in West Brookfield, and, so we could be approving a budget that's gonna go forth, effective, for May, for their town vote.
Yep.
And then potentially voting it down, and then figuring that out.
Right, because I don't want to sound cynical, but I don't see it pass. I think a couple of years ago they did it, I don't remember how many years ago, Steve, you
Yeah, it was
maybe
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and it passed at town meeting, but it went down on the ballot.
Yeah. So what I would project, one of two things. Number one, if they vote to put a number forward to the town in May, I would expect that whatever budget the school committee votes on Monday will be in the report, in the book for the meeting. However, that number, as you know, the number can always be, it can't be raised, it can be lowered.
Well, not in the omnibus. The omnibus can be increased for school.
Yeah.
But if we decide to do article, then you would have to put an article on.
Yeah.
That's where, we need to get some communication to let you know, okay, it's too much, I'm pulling the above out of the omnibus, we're doing an article, and all you would need to get is 20 signatures, is it? 10 signatures. 10 signatures of Warren residents to put an article on. I mean, I don't want to get into that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, but,
So the hard part in all reality, Madeline, is if the board votes to put 2 articles forward tonight in West Brookfield, we likely will not have an answer until they do the vote in May.
right.
And then if it passes in May, we're not gonna have an answer until June.
Correct, I understand that. So, I'm just not sure, maybe if we just want to, just pull it from the omnibus, put an article on for town meeting, and then the 2 of us get together to come up with something reasonable. That's up to you, I mean, you can make that decision we can put the article on, you can also put article on in case we don't agree on numbers, I don't know how you wanna deal with it, but,
So I think we'll have further conversations after tonight about what. the
right,
best
that's what
way-
I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
You know, because we are not meeting with the selectmen to April 11th, which is, what, 2 weeks?
Yep.
But we still got a week after that, that they can sign the warrant on that Thursday to get it out to
Together.
print.
Yep.
And I know, we talked about moving it, you know, printing of the book till later, but I think a lot of our residents, because I know West Brookfield, they email it or mail their budget to them. A lot of people, when they come to vote, that's where they pick the book up.
Yep.
And if they didn't vote, when they come to the meeting, then they pick it up there. So, you know, I'm undecided which way we need to go on that. You know. And I know,
Understandably.
my opinion, and, you know, I know I had mentioned it to Jim, but I don't know if I had mentioned it to the selectmen, because it would involve West Brookfield. I think that town elections should move to June also. Then that would give the committee another, so it goes to the first, another month, to the middle of May, to put the omnibus, and then it should be pretty good.
Any other questions or comments on this version of the budget? Okay. Do you want to present option two?
So, option 2, this is the elementary school restructure, so I can tell you this is not going on West Brookfield's
Can't pass it.
meeting today. You'll see why. This is actually higher. So in this version, and Steve can talk a little bit more about some of the challenges in this version, transportation becomes kind of a bit tricky in this version. In this version, what would happen is West Brookfield would remain open and would be kindergarten through 3rd, and Warren would be 4th through 6th. Because of trying to get now 2 towns of students to 2 different schools, transportation basically almost doubles here. And as we've talked about, transportation is reimbursable. Any students that we transport over 1.5 miles, we get a reimbursement. It's typically, what I've seen is anywhere between 84 to 87%. In the first year, we don't get any of it back. So we have 2 sets of expenses in this version that now start showing transportation increase. The other piece is unemployment expense. So in this version, there are cuts in here. In this version, your above minimum contribution does come down from the 1.5 million to just about 1.1 million. However, what you can see is your transportation has now increased. So what this would mean would be your total operating assessment would be just over $6 million. Again, the state revenues, those all stay the same, nothing changes there. And you can see expenses have actually gone up a hair in this version, and that's because of the transportation expense. And then again, the debt service it remains the same. Do you want to talk about the challenges in this budget?
I'd say the challenges is you can't have kids in 2 places at the same time. We talked, you can do that, but there's an expense to that. So for example, McCarthy does 4 bus runs for us. In order for us to have pre-K to 3 starting at 8:15 and Warren starting at 8:15, they'd have to add 4 buses, and they're $140,000 a bus. We can add an additional tier, but like Nikki said, the problem with that, McCarthy was about $100 a day per run more, and Lizac was double their normal transportation. So that's where that transportation increase comes in. And without getting any reimbursement for that in FY '27, that initial cost is passed directly onto our towns, which once again defeats the purpose of looking at consolidating. I think it's a good model, but I think the transportation cost just blows it out of the water.
Yeah. So it would be a 1-year hit, then the next year you'd get.
You get 85%,
Yeah.
on average 85% of it back, but.
In unemployment would be
Would-
out of this budget as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
In the next fiscal year, but you can see, you know, what it's starting to do
Mhm.
here.
Could I see your version one sheet just for 1 second? Thank you. So, just to make a comment on this, first of all, I appreciate the thinking to try to come up with something that'll work. It's good to consider all the possibilities that you can, and so I do appreciate that. But this version, our operating the totals actually go up for our town, and for West Brookfield, they also go up. And so, to me, if we're looking at things just rationally and objectively, we can make decisions on that basis. Unfortunately, the reality is that there's emotional, and I'll just call it emotional reasons to favor or not favor a particular budget. Those two are going to conflict. We might all agree rationally that we have to do X, but emotionally, it's so hard to pull the trigger. I don't think this satisfies either one of those. Financially, it doesn't make any sense the first year, and it might be good for down the road perhaps, but emotionally, it's still a burden to the families that are involved with their kids having to get shifted between the towns, the staffing adjustments that would have to be made, cuts that would have to be made, etc. And so while I appreciate the effort that went in to consider this, I don't see this as even something that should even have any further consideration. And so I just wanted to put those thoughts on the record that unfortunately, to me, this is a non-starter. But I'm just one person. I just wanted to share my thoughts about it. Any other comments or questions on this version? Okay.
So this is the third one, and this is the one that is going to be one of the questions we're going to talk about tonight, and this is closing West Brookfield. So you can see in this version that you have minimum increase in your operating. So you can see here in the total assessment for Warren, we've now decreased it from version 1 and 2 and now here, and it's an increase of $186,000. You can see transportation will come down just a hair in this version from the level funded to the school restructure goes up, and now it's going down. Your above minimum contribution here would be about $523,000. And you can see it puts you just under $5 million. Transportation in this scenario, what would happen is, in regards to the reimbursement, FY28, all of West Brookfield students would now become reimbursable because they're all within over 1.5 miles. So there would be some benefit to that in 27. Unemployment is in here as well, as another huge factor in this budget. And again, we have significant cuts, and I will tell you, we have cuts that they're in K through 12, well, pre-K through 12, quite honestly. So there's cuts across the board, and then, we're closing the building here as well. So some of those expenses now kind of start to creep in here.
There's no easy answer. And especially with the K through 3, especially, 4, 5, 6, they're a lot older. But, K through 3 is, like I've said before, I grew up in West Brookfield. David Prouty, they were building the brand new David Prouty. Tantascwa was full. Warren High School Warren was on double sessions. In North Brookfield, they were full, so for 3 years, I traveled from West Brookfield to Wilbraham to go to school. I was the first graduating class from Quabog. But I was a senior in high school, a freshman in high school, so we just kind of, was, everybody talked, and we just had a good time on the bus. You're not talking K through 3, so that's the tough part, the emotional, like I was talking about, it's, but, it's just, it's just everywhere, so it's not just West Brookfield facing this, and I'm sure there's other districts making tough decisions too.
Yeah, as you know, we also were in conversations, heavy conversations with, the town of North Brookfield, who is struggling. They have about 124 kids in their 7th through 12th grade, and, it's hard. They're forced to go to a net school spending budget and make cuts, and that's tough, and that's just right down the road from us. So it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Even towns that you wouldn't think are having issues like this. So these have been hard numbers to put together. Unfortunately, it is what our reality is, and we're trying to be conscious for our students, our staff, and our towns as well.
Glad the decision's not mine.
I'll just make this comment. I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I would totally support this. Obviously, it should be obvious because the numbers work. I just want to, two things come to mind real quick. This still requires an above minimum from West Brookfield for approximately $350,000. And it's my understanding from the comments that got made on Monday night's presentation by the West Brookfield representatives that even that is going to be a real reach for them, even with a Prop 2.5 passing. And so, this rational, objective perspective is this is the only realistic option that we have at the moment, unless something unpredictable happens out of the blue, which you obviously can't plan on that or hope for it. We can hope for it, but we can't plan on it. So I would certainly endorse this budget. I wasn't aware they were meeting tonight. I may go to that meeting and just to hear firsthand what's going on. Like I've been to. Steve mentioned it, and at the sake of sounding self-serving, and it's not. I think it's really important that the people who really care about these things get involved before it's the last minute. And I've probably been to more budget subcommittee meetings and budget and school committee meetings than many of the members on those boards. I've diligently attended after a very rocky start 3 years ago, making it a point to be there. The school has done what they can to make these budgets work. And so anyone who's paying attention to my position over the years knows that I've been a strong advocate for fiscal restraint by the schools. So I don't have any problem saying the things I'm saying because I have been involved and I have seen what they've done. And so it is important that we support our schools. I think this is the only possible way to go forward. Now, that's just me. That's just my opinion, but I wanted to put it on the record. And I'll just further say, our committee has to come up with a number to end up putting into the omnibus and some of the logistics about how to make that work because the numbers aren't going to all jive, and we all know that. But I'm not sure where we'll get to today about this, but last year we did keep the above minimum flat. The school kept the above minimum flat. We agreed with that, obviously, and it was $768,000, rounded up $769,000. It would be great to keep that flat again. This would come under that by a significant amount. I would be willing, given that the minimum contribution by the state was only going up 4.4%, and the school to come in with an operating expense, I'm excluding transportation, because that's really just it's almost like a pass-through. We only get 85% reimbursement maybe, or maybe 87 if we're lucky, that kind of thing. But excluding transportation, if our above minimum did go up another 5% this year, that would be another $39,000. I could even support that, because I know the school is trying hard to keep their, and that would mean their actual functional spending for the academic aspect of the school would only go up 5%, which I think is reasonable. Our town budget's going up 5%. I know other school districts in the area, we support Pathfinder, their budget went up 5%. A functional operating budget going up 5% I think is reasonable this year, given inflation. I could support that. That would be $808,000 above minimum. Even that is a big ask, I know, but nothing else even comes close to that in option 1 or option 2. This certainly does, and again, my heart goes out to the staff, the parents involved, the administration, and the town of West Brookfield. It's immensely difficult emotionally to acknowledge that the school may have to close. And I don't say any of this lightly. I grew up in a town that, it wasn't a regional school district, it was in upstate New York, but it was Tioga Central School District. Tioga Center and Nichols. I was a Nichols resident, and when I found out that school was closing, I was like in my 30s, I think. It's been a while now. And it was like, it bothered me. My school was closing, and I'd been out of there for 2 decades. So I understand how difficult this is emotionally, but I hope everyone can stay calm, work hard to just objectively look at things, and we'll obviously have a chance to discuss and come to a conclusion about what we're willing to put forward and recommend as a committee, and that's all we do is recommend. We're just an advisory committee to the town and on behalf of the residents in the town. So I think I've rambled enough, and I'll just stop at that point. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about this version? Steve?
I'd just like to make a quick comment about the Finance Committee. First off, I want to thank the towns because they've been so supportive of education. But I do want to point out that last year the Board of Selectmen opted to put an additional, I forget whether it was 80,000 or whatever it was, as a warrant. 60,000, because, and once again, I know there's a difference in opinion, but the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education says that the school committee approved budget has to be presented to the town in its totality. We didn't have the full numbers from the state at that point because the House budget was still out there in the Senate version. I do want to thank the town and the Board of Selectmen for putting that additional amount on so that it covered the entire school committee approved budget. The thing that we had discussed with the Board of Selectmen and with the advisory board, we understand where the advisory board's stance was on that, but without that additional warrant, then by DESI regulations, that budget would not have passed because it wasn't presented in its totality. The school did say that if the funds came in like we projected that they probably would have from the House and the Senate, that we would ask to have that article removed from the warrant, which we did. But I just want to mention that our budget was, and I don't know what budget we're going to end up at, but I think it's important just to note that the budget last year was presented in its totality, even though the Finance Committee supported a certain number, the Board of Selectmen made up that difference. We were able to reduce it back down to the Finance Committee, but our budget, school committee approved budget was presented in its totality. It wasn't necessarily all in one piece, which was fine, but it was just
I
important.
don't understand what you're talking, what 60,000 you're talking about.
So there was a
Or
different.
80,000, the selectmen didn't approve anything.
No, the select board approved.
No, they did not.
The select board approved an article going on the warrant to fund the remaining balance of the school committee approved budget. Jim?
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah, so that was the $80,000.
But that had to do with the lighting, that
No,
didn't have to do
no,
with.
no.
It did.
There was
That
a
was
separate
special town
article.
meeting, Madeline.
Yeah, there was a separate one for like 85,000.
Give us just a moment, Edwin, let Jim find that article.
I think it was the last one.
There-
or something like that.
What,
Yeah,
they
it was.
didn't approve it in the sense that they were like endorsing spending the money, they approved it going on to the warrant.
It was
No, it's
80,
okay.
it was Article 31, 88,000.
I know what you.
Yeah, no, it's all that, once
Oh,
again.
it's taken off, okay.
Yeah, we took it
Oh,
off.
that's why
Yeah,
it's not
no,
registered.
yeah, no, we asked to have it removed at town meeting because we had the numbers, but if that $88,000 wasn't on as an article, then the entire school committee approved budget would not have been presented at town floor,
Right, no.
which Desi says it has to be, you know?
Well,
once
that's
again-
what Desi says,
I'm sorry.
council tells us.
That's once again,
Right.
and we were very
Yeah.
thankful for
But
that,
that's
and we
why
get it
it
removed.
didn't register because it was removed, so.
Yep.
And that was the other question that I had for you too, talking about the lighting up at the school. I doubt West Brookfield didn't approve it or didn't put it on.
They haven't finished their warrants yet.
This was last year. Last year we did.
This happened in the fall, this was special town meeting, this year.
No.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I got too much in my brain.
It's okay.
It might have been at the special, but, because we only did, I think, 60,000.
60,000. Yep.
So I didn't know, and that was contingent on West Brookfield, so I didn't know what was happening, if anything was happening on that.
I think we'll have to wait and see what happens with their warrant.
Okay.
And we are still waiting for, numbers from the state as well, so obviously,
Well, what I just don't understand, and, I don't follow politics really close, because I don't need it. That this millionaire tax, I thought was supposed to be helping the schools out, with half for transportation and half for the school. I mean, is it helping any? I mean, it doesn't seem to appear to me.
Yeah, I think if you look at the numbers, it answers your question.
Yeah. I
It
guess.
hasn't.
Well, there's been people who have left the state because of that, so that impacts state revenue.
So just for clarity, we're going to anticipate that at Monday's school committee meeting, you'll approve the level funded budget, because that gives you the ability to at least ask for that legally. Because if you went with either option 2 or 3, or maybe a fourth one that could come down the road, you couldn't go back up if there was a miraculous discovery of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so we won't be dismayed when that number gets approved on Monday night, which is, for us, for Warren, it would be approximately 1.5 to 1.6 million above minimum contribution. You guys kind of have to do that because it's the only way it gives you the ability to maneuver downward. And so I think earlier in the meeting there was a little bit of confusion about that as to putting on the school committee's approval of that number versus the town's omnibus number that goes in there. Those two can be at variance, but we do need to present that full amount like you talked about earlier. Thank you.
We don't have to.
No,
We don't have to put 1.5.
no, I understand, but it has to get,
That's their budget. That has nothing to do
No.
with our budget.
no, I
the
know.
town has to approve that. The town has to
No.
be presented that total
So this
amount.
is, okay, you have to present it to the town, but the finance committee and the selectmen do
Right.
not have to put that in our budget. This is where the disagreement is. Desi's saying you do, our legal counsel's telling us no. So there is an issue there. There's no way that 1.5 million is going anywhere in this book. That I'm telling you.
So we can sort that out in the future here, in the coming future, so. Any final comments, questions?
As things change, we will certainly keep you up to date. We're waiting for the state numbers any day
Jim, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Nikki and Steve. I know it's tough, very tough, very difficult. These are challenges that not only, Quabog is facing, but, throughout the state, really, a lot of families are not having as many kids. And so that's a real, issue. The question that I have is E&D certified yet or not yet?
No, we're working on it. Should
Okay.
be done shortly.
Do you have an estimated number?
Not right now.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. What time is meeting tonight in West Brookfield? Sorry.
I've been to so many meetings.
I know,
I think it's at.
I know.
What I'll do is when I get back, I think it's at 6. So
Okay.
plan on 6. If it isn't, I'll email you the exact time.
I can look it up too, Steve. That's, I just didn't know if you know.
Yeah.
It might be better that I'm there instead of our selectmen's meeting anyway, so I'll probably be there tonight, so. Okay. If there's nothing else on this, we can move on to the next thing on our agenda. And thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
It was good to be able to get together finally and just
And
You know,
thank you
let you hear our
giving me
thoughts.
those numbers.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
We just have it broken down,
Yeah.
but,
No,
you know.
I was like, oh yeah, we did that, yeah.
Cool.
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chair,
Jim.
while we have the school here, I know that there was discussion about, in the past, we talked about revolving fund. Are we moving forward with that
Yes.
for this year? You guys are ready to go for that?
Yep, so I've set up the revolving account. I'm gonna tell you there's nothing going in it this year, but, from 25, because we took care of, all of that, whether, I think, Don reduced the assessment by that, if I remember correctly, but whatever we end with 26, we'll start using the revolving account.
Okay, so we
Yep.
won't need to put an article on
Nope.
for that we're all squared away with.
Correct,
Okay,
yep, I
very
forgot
good.
about that, yep.
Okay.
And just for the record, anyone who's wondering about that, that's the way that transportation funds get reimbursed by the state. It's just a logistic thing where instead of the money going back to the way that money gets handled is what's being discussed right now, and I think we're all on the same page. If anyone has any specific questions out there, they can always contact either Jim or myself or the school, and they can explain it if there's questions about it. Okay. All right, again, thank you guys very much.
You're very welcome.
No. Madeline, it's always good to see you. It's nice to meet you, Ray. Thank you very much. Jim, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Much
Bye.
appreciated. Good to see you, Peter. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for all you do.
Okay. So we have a couple things to update, a couple of holes we had in our omnibus budget, the top department budgets. In particular, we did get numbers from the Warren Water District. Their assessment request this year for hydrant rental or leasing is $46,736, which is a nominal increase over last year's number. It was 46.1 if I remember correctly. 46,101 last year, so just maybe 1.5% kind of an increase on that. Were there any other updates on our,
Well, I think the only thing was, the custodian and then also the insurance.
Jim, any comments
Yeah,
about that?
so, I did have a conversation, with our custodian, and, I think we've come to an agreement, with, in terms of the mileage versus the steps, and, I think we've come to an understanding that, one of the, options that was presented by the finance committee, will be chosen. And that would be the two-step option.
Okay.
So that will be put into the budget. I believe it's already calculated in there.
Okay.
And so the stipend would go down to $300 for clothing,
Okay.
and all mileage stipends, would not be, or would be just part of his normal duties.
And just a follow-up, just for closure on it, did we want to pull the additional web
Yeah, we could-
technology things and put it down in technology fees, or are we good with it just staying as part of the Shepherd building expense?
Well, it shouldn't be in the Shepherd
Yeah.
building expense,
Right, I
there's no
think-
doubt about
I
that.
think we have kind of concluded that.
I would think, so you increased it,
It doesn't change our outlays, it just means the number gets accounted in a
no,
different
it's,
line.
no, because it's, if the selectmen approved that accessibility, we've gotta add another,
Yeah, a little bit more.
9,000
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
so the technology, the computer. Yeah, you increased it only 2,800. Right?
No, it's gotta, I increased the Shepherd building,
No, this is the technology.
oh, yeah.
Only
Yeah,
got a minimal
Yeah,
increase.
yeah, that's a minimal
right.
increase just for entree.
Right.
So I would take some of that money out of the Shepherd building and move it into the technology, because I increased Shepherd.
Shepherd went up 9,500.
But that was only for,
Yeah, so that was just for the basic website and some additional expenses for the Shepherd building. So, some of the utility costs, so I would, yes, it has to, we would have to take at least 4,200 out of the Shepherd and, move it to the, technology, line. And then if the contract gets approved tonight for the accessibility, then
4,200, you
you'll-
said.
Additional on top of that, yeah, okay. And was there any other,
Just the insurance, that's all it was.
And I just got the numbers today finalized from Maya. I have to do some calculations on that. So our next meeting, you'll have the final numbers for insurance.
okay. Any grave,
No,
Nothing.
I don't think that there's gonna be that much of savings.
did we need any adjustment to police budget? Is contract negotiations over?
Contract negotiations are ongoing.
Okay.
I'm sure that there will be an adjustment made at some point, depending on the finalization of the contract, for the chief.
Okay,
But everything else should stay the same.
okay. And checking my notes here. And I think that's all I've got. Anything else on department budgets? Okay, we've got a first draft of the town meeting warrant. So let's look down through
Bless
those
you.
Thank you.
articles.
Number 3,
Is it
we're
number-
gonna have Adam come in,
Okay,
so.
so there's a article about funding 2 new positions for the fire department, which we'll have Chief LeBoy come in to discuss that. What else do we got here?
Number 6.
6.
I think we briefly talked about that before.
I can speak on it if
Yeah,
need
if
be.
you could address that, Jim? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we discussed at a previous meeting, I really think that there's an opportunity for the town to support a homegrown Warren nonprofit, the Clowning for Kids Foundation, which is a 100% volunteer, non-political organization that invests in the future of children. The foundation is a public charity. It was formed in 2008 for the sole purpose of helping children in need under the age of 16 through the art of clowning. The Clowning for Kids Foundation is a jewel and a gem for the community, and I strongly believe that the town needs to support its local nonprofit, such as the Clowning for Kids Foundation, for all of the work that they do for our children in our community, whether it be through scholarship or buying school supplies or all of the fun that they do to try to make kids laugh and have fun. And you know, there's several other towns that solicit Clowning for Kids to do parades for them, and those towns make a donation to the organization. There are several organizations that we currently fund in the budget, sporting organizations that do not take the $500, and it just gets rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. I think that this is an opportunity where we can support a local nonprofit for $500. I don't think it's going to break the bank.
Any other comments about this one? Do we want to act on each of these right now?
Yep.
'Cause, so anyone want to make a motion on that, or do we just?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 6,
Second.
for kids.
Okay, all those in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Matozak, aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
And number 7, to fund the OPEB. It's a standard amount we've been putting in the last few years at least.
All these numbers that you've got here for free cash, there's enough left for the snow and ice deficit?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept Article 7 about OPEB funding for $25,000.
I'll second.
All in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Matozak, aye.
Okay.
Just a comment on that snow and ice thing, I'm sorry. Right now, snow and ice is at a deficit of about $122,000. I called Jeremy, our highway surveyor, yesterday. I said, Jeremy, how much of an influx is that number going to be? Is there, $10,000 worth of bills outstanding? And he had indicated to me that he's kept things down to a minimum, and he wasn't aware of any other outstanding bills at this particular time, but he was going to check with Shelley, and I haven't heard back from him. So, that's basing it, these articles could be approved, and it gives us a little leeway of about, even if it went up to 125, we would be covered.
But if you had another storm, did you ask him how much you need if you had another storm?
He doesn't anticipate any other storms.
Okay.
Time will tell.
Well, the thing is,
Yep.
then something else would have to get cut. So.
Okay. Article 8, a transfer from free cash for $25,000 for maintenance and repairs to town buildings. Any- I'll make a motion that we endorse that or accept that article.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Matozak, aye.
Okay. Article 9, okay.
Can we just, before we,
That's, go ahead.
has capital planning done anything on?
There There has been no capital planning meetings to date for this year.
Just checking.
So to move out of stabilization, capital stabilization, $300,000 to fund a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning improvement at the senior center. I apologize, I'm just seeing this for the first time. I'm trying to recall the capital planning that we had we set aside? Well, we have capital stabilization.
Yeah, right.
We didn't address it as a capital planning committee, it's coming back. And could you remind me how much we have in capital stabilization?
We have, if you include the deposit that was recently put in, it's about almost 800,000.
Okay, so that would be a significant. I'm gonna recommend we get in touch with capital planning committee and look for their input on
It
this.
doesn't make any difference.
Say more. We can still make it
They don't, even if they don't approve it, they're just a committee, just like we are with
Right.
recommendations.
right.
Okay. I mean, because the thing is that needs to get done, because they're wasting heat, because,
I'm not opposed to that, I'm just,
no, I'm just saying,
I know.
because this happened at one town meeting, and I don't know if you were there, I know Jim definitely would have been here, Peter was there and stuff, when Gushu was on capital planning, and he got up at town meeting because capital planning didn't give their opinion on it, town council said they don't need their opinion.
yeah,
I'm just saying,
I-
it's kind of like if,
well, let me ask a few questions then. Okay. Have you gotten even a rough estimate of anyone on this?
Yes, so there is a report that was done by Ty and Bond that just came out, and they're estimating somewhere around 280,000.
Okay.
But it's gotta go out to bid, and, you know, bids are very volatile right now, so we won't know until it goes out, but their recommendation was to budget about 300,000.
Just,
I want to recognize someone from the public, Peter Krause.
yeah, just, I know you're asking for like 300,000, and it could come in at 280. In the article, it should say, if there's any leftover money, it doesn't go for buying flowers or something for the place. It should go back to the taxpayers if there's any extra money. If the project comes in under what you think it is, then instead of using it for another project that we haven't approved at a town meeting.
That would be illegal to do, I would never do that.
Well, but I'm just saying, a lot of times, a lot of the grants end up going that route. And I'm just saying that the voters should know that it's going back to the voters, whatever we don't spend.
Yeah, totally understand and agree. I think it would have to,
Legally,
But-
it would have to.
right.
but obviously, so let me suggest this, that when the article comes up at town meeting floor, we preemptively say that.
Oh, yes, I will say that.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
I would say it right on the floor.
Because sometimes the grants, you don't understand
I
that
think,
you get to spend some of that afterwards.
Yeah,
And
just so it's explicit.
it's, so we know we're in line to keep things on.
it could be in the article itself,
Okay.
because
If-
even if you say it at town meeting.
If you wanna throw that
Okay.
to,
Because if you say it at town meeting, if that's not given the directive
right,
to
legally,
to put the money back in
yeah, so just,
stabilization.
yeah, so just, that it would, any excess funds would be returned to capital
That's
stabilization.
good. That would sound great.
Yeah, okay. I'll make a motion to accept Article 9 for the funding of the heating project at the senior center.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Vitazaka.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Article 10, we can get rid of now that we cleared that up.
Yeah, that's the revolving fund issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Do we need to take a position on 11? It doesn't really affect,
No,
yeah. 12, free cash the sum of $8,800 to replace the utility trailer for the fire department. Jim, can you address that at all, or should we?
Yep, there is, the chief had indicated to me that there's, for the Kubota, the Kubota that is down there at Station B is quite heavy, and the current trailer that takes it around, utility trailer, is not rated officially for that weight capacity of the new Kubota. So he's looking to get one that is rated correctly and that will properly tow the Kubota trailer to scenes.
What's a Kubota trailer?
That is the trailer that they got for for the woods for their RV trailer.
I'm completely lost.
It's a utility trailer.
Right.
It's a
I
Kubota
understand, but I
RVT.
understand, but
It's
it's
currently at
replacing-
max weight, and it's a single axle
But he's
trailer.
putting what on there?
He's putting the Kubota utility
I
vehicle.
com-
Kubota is like the little car, you know, the little
I got it
utility
down, dude.
utility
I got it.
vehicle.
I got it.
We need to have Adam come in for the other thing. We want to just punt this to then, or do you? Okay.
No, I just wanted to know what he was putting on,
Okay.
because he's talking
Yeah,
about
some
loading.
heavy
Kubota.
equipment kind of a thing.
Well, no, it's like a recreation vehicle, it's a four-wheel,
Four-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
not a three-wheeler, it's a four-wheeler.
Oh,
And you
right.
can take in the woods and put stuff,
To do.
pull the, and you
Okay.
pull the trailer with it, right?
Yes.
So you pull the trailer behind it, that's what he's
No, the
saying,
Kubota goes
Onto the-
On
goes
there.
on it, yeah.
To transport it.
to
yeah.
transport it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I mean, if it needs to be done and he needs it, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there's bigger fish to fry. I'll make a motion to recommend Article number 12 for $8,800.
Second,
All those in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pena, aye.
Madeline Latazza,
Okay. And the keyless entry system
yeah,
for $5,000 for both fire stations A and B.
that one you can come talk about. So.
All right, so we'll hold that for him to make his case. 14 is to see if the town transferred free cash $9,970 for the purchase and setup of 5 desktop computers for the police station, for the police department. I presume the chief talked to you about this,
Yes.
Jim?
So these are, when we did our computer upgrade project for town offices, he is on a separate MSP provider. He does his own IT, and his computers are separate from the town's. I had asked him if he wanted to join the town in this endeavor. He had declined at the time. And so I had circled back around with him when we were doing our project, and I had advised him that, you know, I don't know how old your computers are, but you may want to have your MSP provider look into the fact that are they going to be able to support Windows 11 moving forward. And come to find out, there was some of these computers that he has will not. And so that poses as a significant risk to cybersecurity. And so he's asking that 5 of the desktop computers be replaced at this time.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the computers in question are significantly aged. I'll make a motion to recommend Article 14 for the police to get new computers.
Second,
All in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pena, aye.
Madeline Latazza,
And 15, transfer from free cash $35,000 to establish a special stabilization account for the replacement of a police cruiser for the police department, or take any action relative thereto. Is this part of our, we have a capital planning, is this just to like legitimize that? or what?
No, you know, it is on our capital plan. You know, I think the capital planning committee at one point had recommended that the chief do one, or at least put money aside, or ask for money aside every budget. This would be for half of one. He just got, we just funded a complete one. A new one's gonna be coming, probably by the end of June, I would think, the latest. You know, so this would be the next cruiser that is almost there. The chief, feels as though that they need to be replaced at 100. I guess that, some departments and some towns have different philosophies on that, depending on the condition of them, but, so he's trying to cycle the cruisers out at around about 100.
So should this come out of free cash or out of stabilization?
We
We're
have,
putting it into a stabilization.
we're putting it into a special
It's
stabilization.
not being.
Okay. So, okay.
Because we have 3 stabilizations accounts. We have our regular stabilization, that's our savings account. Then we have an account just for a special stabilization where we're taking the money for this building.
Right.
And then we have the individual stabilizations for the fire truck we've added, for the highway department. So there's 3 different categories.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to,
Well, is capital planning going to be having a meeting?
I'm assuming that they will, at some point. I just don't, I wouldn't recommend taking anything out of stabilization to put it into another stabilization.
but I thought we had started to set aside money for this. And maybe I may just not be recalling correctly.
You put money into a special stabilization for a cruiser before, but
Last
then
year.
last year, then we took it out to buy the cruiser.
Okay,
Well,
so we
It was
did,
a separate
okay.
line.
All right, and we
That's what
haven't,
I'm saying.
we haven't,
This is for another cruiser.
okay, all right.
Right, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was trying to
I-
explain 3 to you.
Okay. I apologize for the faulty recollection of how we all had done that.
Right, so-
But,
It was like-
yeah, I'll,
Okay, hold on. I'll look at last year, so. Yeah, Article 25 last year was to see if the town will vote free cash, 35,000 to a special stabilization for the
Okay.
cruiser. And
Okay.
then in the fall,
November.
we
we
Pay
released
balance.
it, we
took
released it
it
for,
out of the
okay.
special
All right,
stabilization.
thanks for reprompting me. So I'll make a motion to recommend Article 15 for the stabilization, special stabilization for police
I'll
cruisers.
second.
All those in favor, Ray Capago, aye?
Donna Pina, aye.
Now we're going to toss it guy.
Okay.
And I know, and this is just for my friend Peter over here, we're already getting rid of one of the articles, so, and I know this is gonna be right, but these numbers are gonna, the article actual number will change, okay? But the context and the meat of the article will not. Just for positioning purposes, Peter, they're gonna change up and down. We got rid of one article, so we'll have to align it so that all the numbers will stay the same. But the meat in the articles and the dollar amounts of what these guys are voting on are not gonna change.
Because what I'm going to do is, because this is basically a draft, I'm going to write on this, approved, what our vote was. And then when he brings the other one that has the lock and whatever else, if they're a different number, then I'm going to write on that. So.
You're gonna have a final meeting for
Yes,
whatever.
this-
Yes.
And that's when the final
The
the
final.
final numbers that line up with the articles.
Yes,
The
So
article
everybody's
numbers.
on the same page.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay,
This is just our first pass on this.
that's okay.
Right,
That's good, so I understand.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, all right, good clarification.
Because it could be Article 14 today, but the
It
next,
couldn't change.
the draft could be Article 16 or Article 8. So 15, so 16,
Okay, and so Article 16,
that's just the general that we have to do every year to
yeah,
allow them
it's
to.
basically a pass-through effectively, so, Article 16, I'll make a recommendation to accept, what am I saying? I'll make a motion to recommend Article 16 for the Cable Advisory Committee, their account, this PEG account that they have.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazak, aye.
And the same thing, I'll recommend.
It's different though, you have to
Okay.
read that, because what they're asking now is to get a server replacement. So it's not the same
Okay,
thing.
that's not, okay. So, yes, thank you, Madeline. They need a new server. I did talk to Travis about this briefly, and so it's $30,000 from their access and cable related fund, so that they can purchase their new server.
And just in case we have people watching, the PEG access is not taxpayer dollars. It is the money that they get from Comcast for subscriptions.
Okay,
I will second that motion.
okay, all in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazak, aye.
Okay. Article 18 is to reauthorize spending limits in the following funds.
It's done every year.
Pardon me?
It's done every year.
Yeah. And so without belaboring all this, it's all,
There's no changes.
there's no changes to this. I'll make a motion to
We
recommend.
don't need to,
We don't need to adjust it? Okay, thank you.
I don't think so. The
Uh,
only time you would be if it was.
It's, yeah, it's an ongoing standard thing.
The next one would be 21.
Okay, 21 is from free cash, transfer from free cash, $6,000, a property survey done of the Warren Senior Center. And I believe, Jim, I'll let you talk to this, but I believe it's to establish the correct boundaries for potential new fencing to be put up.
New fencing to establish parking. There's been a discussion as to, since I started here, that our neighbors, that's their parking. I don't know if that's true or not. We've taken their word for it, but it becomes a significant problem, especially when we have a lot of snow and plows need to come in here and plow. Obviously, if people are parking here, after hours and nothing's going on, we don't necessarily really care. But when there's events going on, it's very limited parking here. We want to make sure that we're using spaces that belong to the town. And also, you had mentioned about a fence. There was discussion about, at some point replacing some of the fence on one side of the building. This would clearly identify the metes and bounds of the property. We don't have that, documented that I was able to find here. There's certainly assessor's records, but there's nothing done by a licensed land surveyor that is registered as a professional.
Okay. I'll make a motion to recommend Article 21 to address the property survey at the senior center.
Second.
All in favor? Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazak, aye.
And 22, from free cash, $14,000 to pay for hosting the fireworks at the parks, request by the Parks Department to do that for 27. Fiscal year 27.
I just want to say one thing.
Would be this summer, sometime in the summer this
The
summer.
fall.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, I know this got changed a few years ago. I think it used to be in their budget, but then, I don't know what happened, but somebody didn't want it and it got canceled. So, I'm just gonna say for this year, I don't have a problem with it, but I think it's something that, we might wanna just put it into their budget.
Yeah.
Because, we're voting on it every year, somebody wants to not have the fireworks, they can put a hold and then amend the budget without that amount. But I mean, I can't think, you've been here 3 years and four, and do you remember that time it happened?
Well, years ago, it was funded by the businesses and different people. It wasn't, then they couldn't get the funding because of probably the economy or something at the time.
Probably 2008.
And then the towns had to contribute a little bit towards it, but that's how it started.
But then one year, I remember that they voted it down.
Yeah.
But it's been quite a few years where it's approved, but they would also, because it just gives us, an article, and it's like, they're gonna put it in year after year. That's how if you don't want it, then somebody just puts a hold, takes the budget, take the 14,000 out, and, that's what I'm saying, it's been many years now. So I would make a motion. Oh, I don't know if anybody else has anything to say.
No.
I'll make
That'll
a
make sense what
motion
you
to
said.
approve Article 22 for 14,000 for the fireworks.
Second.
All in favor, Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazik, aye.
And floodplain, personal bylaw. So I think that's all of the financial ones.
Except,
Okay.
I just got the two with
We need to add them for 3
three
For number three.
and other one.
and for Article 13.
Yeah. Because I just don't understand why he has to have.
Okay.
So Ray, you're gonna chat with Adam to get him to.
I'll contact Adam. To get
Because,
it.
where's that other article?
He didn't request it.
Oh, he's not requesting it?
It wasn't part of his package, so.
Okay.
Any new business? Any old business? Any comments from the public? Okay, I actually put it in the agenda. So, our next meeting date and time, what works? We're getting close to the end here, so we gotta,
Yeah, we only got 2 weeks.
do you want me to confirm that Adam can come next week and then we can, to be determined on setting the time and date? Or do you wanna just set a date? I'm sure he'll accommodate us.
Well, it's during the day, she could work it unless he's got some sort of a meeting.
Yeah, or it could be out of town for some reason. Next week is, today's the 26th, that's the first week of April starts on, April 1st is on Wednesday. Let me go to April.
Three.
Um,
3 wasn't on.
I'm gonna take care of that,
Oh, okay.
line item transfer.
Okay.
Donna, you start a new job,
Yes, and I don't know,
what your schedule will
I
be.
don't even know the day I'm starting, so,
Okay.
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
Um,
Schedule whatever. works.
Let's schedule it, and if we have to, we'll change it.
When are you gonna find out?
Probably tomorrow.
I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, all right,
I
well,
don't have any,
yeah, I'm open to, so,
whatever day,
if-
so.
as soon as you find out, Donna, let us know, and
And you'll be
we'll schedule that.
Mhm.
And just for anyone who's interested, it would likely be Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, and so, but we'll, look for follow on the website and look for the posting. If you have any questions, call the town clerk. Not Jim. Jim gets enough stuff.
Hold on.
Anything else before
Yeah,
we?
just hold on a second. I wrote 23 down, but we didn't need to do anything, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 4:30.
Second.
And all in favor, Ray Capaco, aye.
Donna Pina, aye.
Madeline Watazik, aye.
Thank you, everyone.